We are halfway through the year, so I thought I would do like a mid-year reading check, talking about some of my favorite books I read this year, my least favorite, some of my disappointments, etc. Starting off with the best book I read so far this year. This one was a little bit difficult for me because I didn't have like a book that I read that was like a standout favorite, but I did manage to narrow it down to three books, and these are in no particular order because I love them all. Starting off with Howl's Moving Castle, this book was lovely. It's got a great story, very beautiful writing. I love like the cozy fairy tale-esque vibes that this book had. The plot was interesting, the characters were wonderful, and I really, really loved it. And obviously, Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. This is the third book in the Emily Wilde's trilogy, and I loved every single one of them. I know a lot of people talk about this being their least favorite in the series, but I actually really liked the way that it concluded, and I love the storyline in this book and that it was like set in fairy. Got a lot more interaction with fae creatures, and don't even get me started on Emily and Wendell. They were great. I love this book. I also finished the Mistborn trilogy with The Hero of Ages, which is the third favorite book I read so far this year. I don't have it in my hands, but it is right behind me in this box set. It's just really hard to pull out. But this book is everything you would want to have in a conclusion to a fantasy trilogy. The plot was intense, it was urgent, you spent a lot of time with all of your favorite characters. The resolution to the story and the conclusion was very, very satisfying, but also heartbreaking, and I absolutely loved it. And the worst book I read has to be The Wood at Midwinter by Susanna Clarke. This is a very small book, but honestly, it is so pointless. And I love Susanna Clarke as an author. I've read Piranesi, and I'm like 60% into the Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell world, but this book has no plot, has no story. It just honestly feels like a cash grab, and I take personal offense to that. And the biggest surprise for me this year was The Ministry of Time. This is a sci-fi book set in the modern day where the government basically plucks characters from history and assigns them to like a caseworker that they have to live with that helps them adapt to the modern day. And it was a surprise because I've heard a lot of negative reviews about this book. So when I read it, I had really low expectations, but I honestly really, really loved it. I love the questions that this book asks, and how would you go about explaining the modern day to somebody from like the 1940s? And also things that maybe people thought were right in the past. How would you go about explaining to them that the modern society doesn't necessarily recognize that anymore? I thought this book was really well done. It was really thoughtful, asked a lot of hard questions, and it actually didn't end the way that I wanted or expected it to, and I think I really appreciate it for that reason as well. My biggest disappointment this year was A Theory of Dreaming by Ava Reed. I think the reason it was disappointing was because I just had such high expectations for it, because I really, really love I Study in Drowning and kind of wanted more of the same thing. I just really didn't like the way that Ava Reed characterized the main characters. I feel like they took like 5 steps back in their character development in this story. Also felt like the plot was kind of weak, but I can still see people enjoying it. I think I just set my expectations too high.